sentenced before the trial began. Before the jury was selected, before a single witness took the stand, the sentence was already decided. It started with a press conference. Police in Pine Ridge, Colorado, stood behind a podium and announced they had identified the individual responsible for the death of a local real estate agent. The man's name was said aloud. His photograph appeared on every screen in town. Caleb Rowan hadn't been arrested yet. By the time he was, the story was finished. The only thing left was paperwork. Caleb had sold the victim a car months earlier. That connection, thin and outdated, became motive. Investigators ignored the fact that the car had changed hands twice since then. They ignored surveillance showing someone else driving it days before the murder. What mattered was that the public now recognized Caleb's face. During jury selection, nearly every potential juror admitted they'd heard about the case. Many remembered the police chief's words verbatim. The defense requested a change of venue. Denied. The trial wasn't about evidence. It was about confirmation. A forensic analyst testified that a hair found in the victim's home was not inconsistent with Caleb's. The jury heard certainty where none existed. A financial record showing Caleb was late on a credit card payment was presented as desperation. The judge allowed it. When the defense tried to introduce a voicemail left on the victim's phone, one that suggested she feared someone else, the prosecution objected. The voicemail was ruled speculative. Speculation apparently worked only one way. Caleb took the stand. He denied everything. His voice shook. Commentators later called it guilt. The jury returned a guilty verdict in under 5 hours. Caleb was sentenced to life. 3 years later, a civil lawsuit against the police department forced the release of internal communications. Among them was an email sent before Caleb's arrest. It read, "We need to lock this in early. Community expects closure." Attached was a draft press release naming Caleb as the perpetrator, dated 2 days before key evidence was even processed. The conviction was overturned on appeal. The appellate judge wrote that the defendant had been irreparably prejudiced by pretrial conduct. That was the closest thing to an apology. Caleb was released quietly. The press didn't return. The chief had retired. The story had already served its purpose. Caleb hadn't been convicted by a jury. He'd been sentenced by an announcement. And by the time the trial began, justice had already made up its mind.